Let V be the vector space of 2 by 2 matrix over the reals, and let W be the subspace generated by these given matrices. We have to find the basis for W. For that, let's write first the standard ordered basis for the vector space in 2 by 2 matrices, right? So these are 1 0 0 0, 0 1 0 0, then is 0 0 1 0 and 0 0 0 1. So these be the standard ordered bases for the vector space V. Then we have to write the coordinate vectors of the given matrices. So the first matrix is 1 2 3 5. So the coordinate vector for the first matrix is 1 2 3 5 dash. The coordinate vector for the second matrix is 2 3 5 8 dash. The coordinate vector for the third matrix is 3 4 7 11 dash. And the coordinate vector for the fourth matrix is 1 1 2 3 dash. Let's write all these coordinate vectors in a matrix form named as A, and writing all these vectors row wise. So the first row is 1 2 3 5, and the second one is 2 3 5 8. Then is the 3 4 7 11, and the last row is 1 1 2 3. We have to change this matrix in the row echelon form to get the required basis. So for that, we have to apply the row operations. So already we are having 1 over here. So to make this to be our leading element, we need to make all other entries of the first column to be 0. For that, applying the row operation on the row 2, row 2 needs to be changed and its elements are added to the row 1, but row 1 should be first multiplied with -2 to get 0 in place of 2. So because we have to change the row 2, writing the first row as it is, 1 is multiplied with -2, we get -2, adding this to 2, we get 0. This is what we need. 2 is multiplied with -2, we get -4, adding this to 3, we get -1. 3 multiplied with -2, we get -6, adding this to 5, we get -1. 5 is multiplied with -2, we get -10, and adding this to 8, we get -2. To get 0 in place of 3, the row operation is row 3 needs to be changed and adding its elements to the row 1, but row 1 should be first multiplied with -3. 1 multiplied with -3 and adding this to 3, we get 0. This is what we need. 2 multiplied with -3, we get -6, adding this to 4, we get -2. 3 multiplied with -3, we get -9, and adding this to 7, we get -2. 5 multiplied with -3, we get -15, and adding this to 11, we get -4. It is remaining to get 0 over here also. So the row 4 needs to be changed and adding its elements to the row 1, but row 1 should be first multiplied with -1 to get 0 in place of 1. 1 multiplied with -1, adding this to 1, we get 0. Very fine. 2 multiplied with -1, we get -2, adding this to 1, we get -1. 3 multiplied with -1, we get -3, adding this to 2, we get -1. 5 multiplied with -1, we get -5, adding this to 3, we get -2. Right. Okay, so this becomes our leading element now for the first row. For the second row, we have to make this to be the leading element. That means we have to make this as 1 and making all other entries of this column to be 0. So row 2 needs to be changed and multiplying the elements of the row 2 with -1. Then only we can get 1 in place of -1. So writing the first, third and fourth row as it is and multiplying the elements of the row 2 with -1. So 0 multiplied with -1 we get 0. -1 multiplied with -1 we get 1. This is what we require. -1 multiplied with -1 we get again 1. -2 multiplied with -1 we get 2. Right? Okay. To make this to be our leading element, we need to make all other entries to be 0. So row 1 needs to be changed and adding its elements to the row 2, but row 2 should be first multiplied with -2. So changing the row 1, 0 multiplied with -2 we get 0, adding this to 1 we get 1, no change. 1 multiplied with -2 we get -2, adding this to 2 we get 0. This is what we need. 1 multiplied with -2 we get -2, adding this to 3 we get 1. 2 multiplied with -2 we get -4, adding this to 5 we get 1. Writing the second row as it is. To make 0 in place of -2 in the third row, we need to apply the operation on the row 3 and adding its elements to the row 2, but row 2 should be first multiplied with 2. 0 multiplied with 2 we get 0, adding this to 0 we get 0. 1 multiplied with 2 we get 2, adding this to -2 we get 0. This is what we need. 1 multiplied with 2 we get 2, adding this to -2 we get 0. 2 multiplied with 2 we get 4, adding this to -4 we get 0. Very fine. At last, to get 0 in place of -1, row 4 needs to be changed and adding its elements to the row 2, but row 2 should be first multiplied with 1. 0 multiplied with 1 we get 0, adding this to 0 we get 0. 1 multiplied with 1 we get 1, adding this to -1 we get 0. This is what we need. 1 multiplied with 1 we get 1, adding this to -1 we get 0. And 2 multiplied with 1 we get 2, adding this to -2 we get again 0. This is very fine. So this 1 becomes now our leading element for the row 2. So this matrix is now in a row echelon form. And we can now easily write the basis from this matrix. So writing the basis from the first row in a matrix form, that is 1 0 1 1, 1 0 1 1, right? And from the second row we are getting 0 1 1 2 in a matrix form, 0 1 1 2. So these are the bases for the subspace W.